If you just bought your brand new Switch 2 or you're planning on buying one and you're going to be taking it with you on the go, you're definitely not going to want to just throw it into your book bag because the screen on the Switch 2 can get scratched fairly easy by anything hard. And I've got 12 different cases here that I'm going to go through that I purchased with my own money so you guys can figure out which one is right for you. We're going to see how they fit, how they feel, what features they offer you, and at the end of the video, I'm going to let you know what my personal favorite was and which ones I think you should stay away from. And just so you know, this is not a sponsored video at all. I purchased all these cases myself. And if you'd like to help support my channel, I will be putting product links for all these cases in the video description. So grab your snacks, sit back and relax and enjoy the video. All right, so the very first case we're going to take a look at is the SPIGEN Nano Pop case. So it looks like we have some stickers you can put on the inside. We have some covers for our Joy-Cons. These are just simply hard plastic. And here is the shell itself. Again, this is a hard plastic. It's not rubbery at all. And it also looks to be held in place with all these stickers, which I'm not really a huge fan of. I probably wouldn't recommend using the one for the stand, but we're going to test that out. So first thing we need to do here is take off these stickers. Actually, let's see if it just holds in place without using the stickers first. So we're just going to place this on our switch. Kind of get this lined up in the middle and then just clip that over the top. So that's what the back looks like. Not too bad. The only part here is going to be, a little bit kind of flimsy, but it does seem to hold in place without using the stickers, because I'm definitely not a fan of using any stickers on any of my devices. Let's see how well the Joy-Con covers hold on as well. So we're going to put this over the top of the button first, kind of like that, and then clip the bottom into place. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So those clip into place like that. And there we go. So we have the accented colors on the bottom here, or on the back in gray, and then the rest is this like a matte plastic. You can still very easily access your kickstand from the back. And then again, if you want to put this kickstand piece on, you will have to stick it on with these stickers, which again, I'm not a huge fan of, but let's see what this is like. So kind of just, I didn't remove 2 of the stickers just because I want to see how it holds and what it looks like with just the 2. So it's in place there, and then just kind of press that down. So it kind of completes the back of the hard plastic, and then you can kind of just pull this out. I mean, it does protect the stand. This is one of my least worries here. So I don't know that I would even put this cover on here, but it's there if you want it. And then we have access to all of our ports and things on the top here. You can very easily pull out the cover for your game port. We have access for the USB, our headphone jack, the venting. I'm not really sure what that is, maybe a sensor, but you can easily access your volume and power buttons as well, which is nice. On the bottom here, again, we have access to our USB Type-C port, our speakers, and it feels pretty good in the hand. Again, it's just hard plastic. It doesn't feel slippery at all, which is definitely a plus. Let's take off our Joy-Cons. So you can very easily take the Joy-Cons off. And it doesn't seem like, well, you can see that the Joy-Con is kind of coming out of the protector here, and that's because I didn't use any of the stickers. Actually, there's only one sticker to use anyway. Not a huge fan of any cases that really have to hold in place with stickers. Let's take the sticker off and we'll see how well it holds then. So there it is. There's only that one sticker holding on to the side here. So now it doesn't seem to kind of just come out. So it seems like the one sticker does a pretty good job of holding in place. Again, I'm not a huge fan of things that are held in place with stickers, but this sticker does seem to kind of hold it in place. It does feel pretty good in the hand as well. Clips right back onto your unit. And again, like, it seems like the main body of the cover itself is held in place pretty well without even using the stickers. So if you don't want to use the stickers, you do not have to. But I'd probably recommend at least putting the sticker on for the Joy-Con, because as you saw, it was coming off a little bit. I think it looks pretty good, nice and slim. Now let's see if it fits inside the dock. All right, and here we have the Switch 2 dock. Let's see if it fits inside. So it doesn't seem to fit. As you can see, it's not even charging the Switch 2. So it looks like if you want to use the dock at all with your Switch, you're gonna have to take it outside of the case, which kinda is a big hassle. So let's see if we just pop this back off here. And then put this back into the dock. Yeah, so now it's charging the Switch. You guys can't see from where I'm looking, but I'll kind of put this in, and then I'll push this back into the dock. You can see it's charging. So you don't have to take off the Joy-Con covers, but you will have to take off the back cover of the Switch to use the dock at all. And then let's see if we can use the Joy-Con controller adapter with the covers on. And it doesn't look like you can do that either. It's just too thick. So if you want to use a controller adapter like the one that comes with the Switch, you're going to have to take these covers off as well. So, I mean, even though the case kind of looks cool, it doesn't have a lot of functionality because you cannot use the dock at all with the case on it, and you can't use the Joy-Cons with any sort of adapter to make it a controller with the covers on as well. So this case seems to be pretty limited, even though it does keep your Switch safe from, you know, scratches and things like that. It just doesn't have a lot of functionality. So I probably would not recommend the SPIGEN Nano Pop. The next case we have up to test is the SUPCASE UB Pro case. So this case already feels like it's a lot bulkier than the SPIGEN, but it does seem to be a lot more protective. It's also a one-piece case, so there's no part that comes off. Everything is attached. It's got a nice solid backing. It's plastic surrounded by a kind of like a rubbery type material. So let's put our phone, or let's put our Switch inside of our case here. So it just kind of sits down in the bottom, and then just kind of push the top over just like that. Or maybe actually probably should have done it the other way around. What you want to do is put your Switch underneath the top part first, and then kind of push on the bottom part because there's no switches or anything to go over. And then you just kind of fold in the little side pieces just like that. And there you go. Feels really nice in the hand. Gives it a little bit of extra bulk in case you have bigger hands, kind of like I do. But it feels really good. The buttons just kind of naturally fit where your fingers are. Again, you can see on the top, it's got a lot of extra protection. We can still access our ports very easily. You've got your headphone jack, the USB Type-C, our vents, the little sensor here, our volume buttons, and our power button. Very easily accessible. How there's such a lag on this thing. Yeah, that feels really nice. On the back here, got some nice like industrial kind of look. You can see the little grips, the little knurling on each side of the grip, which I absolutely love. Then if you want to kind of take your Joy-Cons off, all you need to do is peel back these side pieces and then you can take off your Joy-Cons, which I really like as well. And you just kind of put those back on. They clip into place. No stickers or anything, just it's held in place really well. So I absolutely love that. Now let's test it out with our dock. I don't think this is going to work with the dock. It looks kind of thick, but we're going to try it out anyway. Put this in. And it fits. It works. I am super surprised. So let me show you really quick. So there, as you can see, it just stopped charging. We'll put this back into the dock and it's charging. And if it was connected to the TV, it would be working as well. Very nice. I absolutely love that, because what's the point of having to take your case off every time you want to use the dock? This just becomes a really big pain. This fits flawlessly, works really well. Like I said, if you want to take your Joy-Cons off to maybe put them in this adapter, these little side pieces just kind of, they don't come off super easy, but they do peel back easy enough to where you can very easily kind of take those Joy-Cons off. And then, oh, I'm pushing the wrong button. And then, you know, put those onto your adapter. So this is a really nice case. I love the fact that it is working with the dock. Feels really nice in the hand. It's got a little bit of a grip to it, and it's going to protect your Switch. So, and I would definitely give this one a thumbs up. The side grips do have a little bit of a rubbery type feel to them. And again, if you have bigger hands like I do, it just makes the Switch feel that much better in your hand. And in case you're wondering how much this case weighs, I know I didn't do that with the SPIGEN, but it was just a very thin piece of plastic. This one's definitely more substantial. Let's see how much it weighs. So it's 137.1 grams. So far, after 2 cases, the SUPCASE is my favorite. Next up, we have a hybrid protective case by I-BLASON. So again, this is got a nice hard backing, and on the sides it's got kind of like this kind of flexible, clear, rubbery type material. It's kind of along the lines of the SUPCASE one, but it seems a lot cheaper. It doesn't have any hinges. It just has this kind of plastic material so you can bend back the sides. But let's put our Switch 2 inside the case. Again, put it underneath the top part and then just push on the bottom, and it seems to clip into place. It is a little bit off here, so I'm gonna have to kind of push. There we go. And then to put the covers on the Joy-Cons, just kind of peel these forward. Again, it feels really nice in the hand. It does offer some really good grip on the sides because of that smooth kind of plastic rubbery material. It does seem to protect the top and the bottom. You can see you can easily access your top game port. Got everything up here as far as the buttons. Buttons are pretty clicky. You can easily press them. Yeah, volume button is pretty nice. And then we have the power button. We have all of our ports and everything on the bottom here. And again, it just feels good. There's something about the clear, rubbery type material that offers more grip in your hand. So again, if you have bigger hands like I do, this case feels really nice. Let's see if it works with the dock here. So we'll push this in and I'll put it down so you guys can see. And it fits perfectly inside the dock. No issues there. It is charging the console right now. And then you can just kind of take it right out. Beautiful. Absolutely love that. I don't know why all of these cases wouldn't just work with the dock, because it's pointless to try to take the case off every time you want to use it. And then if you want to use the Joy-Cons or take them off the Switch, you kind of just peel back this little thing here and then pull out your Joy-Con just like that. Of course, you will have these little pieces just kind of hanging off the side, but they're always going to be there. I don't think it's a huge issue, but when you're going to put the Joy-Cons back in, you just kind of peel this forward and it fits over the Joy-Con. So it's not only going to protect your Switch, but it also kind of holds in the Joy-Cons, so you don't have to worry about them popping off prematurely. Maybe you hit this button by accident. They're held in nicely by these rubber sides. You can see I'm trying to take out the Joy-Con here, but it just clips right back into place because it's being held in by the sides. So definitely nice. This is a little bit slimmer than the SUPCASE one. It's also kind of a little bit cheaper feeling. I do like the SUPCASE still so far, but if you want something slightly slimmer, slightly less bulky, and has some pretty good grip to the side, the I-BLASON case here is a pretty nice option. And then let's see how much this case weighs. So this one's 104.1, so you can definitely see it's a little bit lighter than the SUPCASE one. The next case we have up here is made by PROCASE. Now this is a full coverage case, and it should also carry not only some of your games, but some of the accessories such as the power adapter, some of your straps for the Joy-Cons, and even the HDMI. So right off the bat, it's got a pretty nice, soft hard shell. So it is a soft cover, but it doesn't seem to deform very easily. It is pretty solid. It's got kind of like this fabric-y type material on the outside. It's also got a carrying handle with a silicone cover here to make it nice and grippy when you're holding it. We've got the silicone covered zippers on the side here. Let's open up the case. So on the inside here, you can see that it would carry a whole bunch of different games. It's got a little Velcro strap here to what seems like keep your accessories and things stuck to the top. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 12 times 4, 24 games. It looks like it'll hold. Yeah. So 24 games. And then we also have a little pouch here where you can put something else. On the bottom, actually your Switch goes on the top here. And then it looks like we've got some cutout slots for your Joy-Cons, which is nice. Power adapter, maybe a HDMI cable. So here I've got my power adapter. Fits perfectly right there. Let's take off the Joy-Cons. So we have an L and an R. So this should be the R, which maybe, not sure how it's supposed to fit. No. Nope. It's got to fit like this. So that can go in there like that. It's pretty snug. Put the other Joy-Con in here like that. Not sure if I'm a big fan of this. I do like the idea, but it kind of does smush your little joystick there. But these are held in place. These little Joy-Cons are not going anywhere. It's got this little Velcro strap here to kind of try to keep everything in. Let's see here. We have another Velcro strap here. So yeah, it'll hold your power adapter and your Joy-Cons in place by using these little Velcro straps. And then we also have, this looks like you probably put the HDMI cable in. It's got this little slot here. I mean, you probably have to make the HDMI cable a little bit smaller. So, okay, so we have our smaller HDMI cable. Let's kind of stick that inside. Yeah, so that fits in there pretty good. Just like that. We've got our power adapter, our Joy-Cons. We can also put like these, the little straps, the mouse straps. Put these here. Just like that. So now we have our power adapter, Joy-Cons. We have our straps here. We also have our USB Type-C cable, which we can also kind of stick in there. So we've got everything to keep it charged and connected to our TV if we need. Put this on the top here, and then we'll take our Switch And it should go in here kind of like this. This covers the screen to keep it nice and scratch free. That goes over there like that to keep that in place. And then everything just kind of zips up. So that is pretty nice. That'll definitely keep your Switch nice and protected, and you can also carry all of your accessories. The only downside is you can see it's bulky. But if you want to carry everything that you need to charge up your Switch or connect to your TV, I'd say this is a pretty good option. The zippers are nice and smooth. You can see everything's held in place still. Nothing's moving around. So I'd say this is a pretty good all-in-one solid case. Again, this is made by PROCASE. And even if your Switch was to slide from side to side, you still don't have to worry about it coming out at all. And one more thing I wanted to test is let's not put our Joy-Cons inside the holders here. Let's put it back on our Switch and then we'll put it in to see if it can kind of still hold it in place, because this case would also give you an extra spot for 2 more Joy-Cons. So we'll put this in here like this. Put this over the top, put that in place. And it does look like it still does work. So you can actually have 2 sets of Joy-Cons in here. So you and a friend can actually have their own controller. We'll close this up. The zippers are still nice and smooth. That's pretty nice. So 2 sets of Joy-Cons can be in this case. That's pretty nice. Like I said, especially if you want to play with a friend, you can still have 2 Joy-Cons attached to the system or that you could use, and then you have another set that we can put inside the bottom part of the case. Definitely a fan of this case. And then let's see how much this case weighs. 421 grams. So you can definitely see that this case weighs more than some of just the protective covers, but you can hold a lot more inside. And then here we have a cover by MOKO. So this case is made of TPU and PC. Seems like we have the PC kind of flimsy plastic on the back surrounded by the TPU type material. It does have like a soft kind of feel to it. Unlike some of the other covers, these Joy-Con holders do not hinge back. They're just kind of stuck into place here. Not really sure if I like that or not. This also does seem to come in different colors on the back. I just have the frosted clear here. So let's put our Switch inside the cover. I think probably you want to put your Switch down in the bottom first and kind of press these over your Joy-Cons, and then just kind of press the top over your Switch too. So it goes on pretty easy. Does feel good in my hand. It's got like that kind of like a matte, not really a grippy rubber, but like a smooth rubber type feel. It does feel good in the hand. Like I said before, I've got bigger hands, and these little extra bumps make it a lot more comfortable. It does seem to protect the whole bottom of the Switch up to these sides here, and then we have the top. You can see we can still access our game port maybe. It's kind of covering the port. So yeah, this is kind of a problem. So it seems to be just a little bit off. And if it's not pushed all the way forward, you're not going to be able to put a game in here. So that is a problem. They really need to kind of shave a little bit more off here so you can easily access the game port. You can access your, USB Type-C, the vents, headphone jack. Let's see the volume and power buttons. You kind of have to press your finger inside to get to. Not really a huge fan of that. But the buttons are the buttons on the Switch, so they work really well. It's just, again, you have to press your finger down inside to get to those. On the bottom, we've got our speakers and our charging port here. Got a little bit of a texture on the bottoms and sides of these little grips. Let's see if it works inside the dock. It's kind of pushing out the dock. So does not work with the dock. You're gonna have to take your switch out of this cover to use in the dock, which would definitely be a no-go for me, besides the little part here that is miscut, so it doesn't allow you to access your games. It is kind of unfortunate because it does seem like a simple kind of cover that would protect your switch, but it seems like there's a couple flaws that would definitely keep me from recommending this cover to you, because as you saw in our testing, there's already a couple covers that are much better than this. And then to kind of get your switch out, just kind of push back on the top here and then kind of pull out your switch just like that. And let's see how much this case weighs. $127.7 grams-ish. So not too bad, pretty much on par with some of the other covers. Next up, we have a more rugged cover by I-BLASON. This is probably going to be kind of like the SUPCASE cover. Wow, this is pretty nice. So it does have the hinge Joy-Con protectors on the side. On the back, it's got kind of like a, I don't know, like a matte rubbery type feeling kickstand. You can see it kind of opens up just like that, which is pretty nice. It's pretty thick too. You can see. It's got a hard plastic on the backing, on the bottom as well, and it's got a soft rubbery type material to protect the top. Let's put our switch 2 in. So again, probably going to want to put your switch 2 underneath the top and then just kind of press that into place, and then just push these side Joy-Con protectors over, and that feels pretty nice too. Again, this is like a soft rubbery type material. It's not slick, feels pretty good in the hand. It's got a little bit of extra bulk in case you do have bigger hands like I do. You can see on the top here, again, it's got that nice soft rubbery type material for protection. We can still easily access the game port, which is good. We have our vents here. We have protruding volume and power buttons on the top, which is nice because you don't have to dig like your finger inside to press anything. They're just kind of like right there, easily pressable to find. Power button works beautifully. And then for the stand, because it does cover the stand that comes on the switch, it's got this really big protective piece that does pop out like this, and you can kind of angle your switch pretty much any way you would need, which is nice. The only thing is it does add a little bit of extra bulk to the case itself, so it's probably not going to fit in the dock, but I kind of want to see if we open up this back cover all the way like this, it might actually still fit into the dock. So we'll test that out in just a minute. Again, if you want to take off your Joy-Cons, you just kind of peel back the little protector here and then just kind of pull out your Joy-Con just like that. Works very well, and your Joy-Cons are protected. So pretty nice feeling case, looks really good. Let's see if it actually works in the dock. So just right off the bat, without moving this back piece, it's not going to fit. But if we open up the back piece like this, it slides right into, excuse me, it slides right into the dock. So you don't even have to put it up all the way. It can fit just kind of like this. And I'll show you. So there, it's out of the dock, and then we'll kind of push it in. It slides in very nicely, and it's charging the dock. Beautiful. We got the green light on the bottom here. So again, another cover that works perfectly fine with your dock, so you don't have to take this off, which is definitely a big plus for me. This case also does have a hidden secret that I don't know if you saw before, but if you lift up the back here, you can also carry 5 games inside the back, along with, I believe, a couple micro SD cards. This is also made of a very nice rubbery type material, so it's not going to scratch up your games. So I think that's pretty cool. This case has a lot of functionality. It protects your Switch, and it also works perfectly fine with the dock. So I have no problems recommending this case if you're looking for one. And let's see how much this case weighs. 213 grams, so slightly more heavy than some of the other protective covers, but it also offers some really nice functionality too. The next case we have up here is the SPIGEN Rugged Armor. I absolutely love the Rugged Armor cases for phones, and hopefully this one is just as good for your Switch too. So it does look like this is made of just a very flexible kind of TPU material. Doesn't have any hinges or anything like that. We have like a carbon fiber looking inlay. It's not a real carbon fiber, but it looks pretty nice. Comes with this nice little strap here. So we'll put our Switch inside the case. It looks like you push the Switch down into the bottom just like that, and then just kind of press this over the top. You're going to bring these little pieces over the top here just like this. And that looks like that is pretty much it. So first impressions, feels really nice in the hand. Again, it's got these nice little bulky rubber pieces on the back to help with grip, especially if you have bigger hands like I do. Doesn't obstruct the screen or anything. The only thing is, if you want to easily take out your Joy-Cons, you're not going to be able to because they're stuck inside this case here. Yeah. Okay. I didn't have it all the way on here. So if we take a look at the top, see, you can easily access your game port. Got our charging ports here. Our vents, again, another case where you're going to have to press into this little recession here to access your buttons, but they seem to work perfectly fine. On the bottom, we've got our charging ports and our speakers. We also do have some little lanyard holes on each part of the bottom here. Looks pretty nice. There is the backing. Again, it's got like a smooth rubbery type of material. Now let's see if this works inside of our dock. And it's kind of pushing out the dock. So this case is not going to work with the dock either. I don't know why SPIGEN makes these kind of cases that don't work with the dock, because now you're going to have to totally take your Switch out of here to use either the Joy-Con somewhere else or to charge or even use your dock. So again, probably another case that I wouldn't recommend just because of that. I'm not gonna want to take this case off to want to charge it or use it inside my dock every time. Just kind of annoying. And there's other cases out there that do just the same as the SPIGEN and a little bit better. And then if we want to take this off, you kind of got to push these little pieces off the corner over the buttons, which would probably break or wear out your buttons over time, which is kind of annoying. And just kind of push that out and then take out your Switch. Yeah, that's not good. That's really annoying. Let's see how much this case weighs. 142 grams. I don't know. I thought SPIGEN would have some pretty nice cases, but I'm pretty disappointed with the cases that I've seen so far. I just don't know why they wouldn't make it very easy to be used along with the dock, because I definitely don't want to take my Switch out every time I want to use the Joy-Con somewhere or use the dock, and I'm sure you're not going to want to do that either. So I would definitely not recommend this case. Next up, we have the AUARTE case, and this case has a pretty nice feature that I think everybody would probably appreciate. So this is a full-on case. It's kind of like a soft shell, but it's rigid, along the sides here. It's covered in this fabric material. It also does have a little carrying strap that does have some silicone on it to help with carrying, along with the zippers here also do have some silicone covers. Zippers work pretty nice. It also does have this little port here for charging up your Switch right through the case. So you don't have to worry about taking your Switch out if you want to charge it. We'll test that out. Inside, it's got this kind of mesh material on the top that does have a little bit of softness to it. Got our zipper here. There we go. We put all of our HDMI cables and things inside. We also do have a portion here where we can carry some games. It looks like we can carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 10 games. It's got like a soft type material on it as well. And then we have a part here where we can put our Switch. It does have these little Velcro straps with some rubber underneath to help keep your Switch in place. If you want to put your Switch in here underneath these little straps, I probably don't feel the need to use the straps. And you'd probably only want to do that if you maybe take the Joy-Cons off, but we can just put our Switch inside here, take out this little Velcro strap, and then put the Switch in. We'll turn the Switch off for now. You don't need it on inside the case. And then it fits pretty nice inside the case here. It also does have a really nice kind of soft material to keep your screen free from scratches. And you just kind of put that over the top and then cover it up. So that's pretty nice. And then we'll put some accessories inside the little portion here to see how much we can carry. So we have a USB Type-C. We've got our Joy-Con straps. We have an HDMI cable. Kind of push in here. And a power brick. So you want to be careful with this because this is going to press down on the top of your Switch. It might not work. Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be okay because we do have the cover here. Let's see if we can close it. So it does zip up. Zippers are working pretty nice. You can see it's got a bulge because of the power adapter. So if you want, it can accommodate the power adapter, but again, I'll just be very careful about pressing things against the screen. And then as far as the little port here, if we open this up, you can see the charging port for the Switch right there. So let's take our USB Type-C out of our dock and we'll see if we can kind of charge up our Switch here, as you can see in the top, and then just kind of just like that. So now it's charging your Switch. Let me open it up really quick just so you guys can see. The zippers again are really nice. And you can see that it is charging the Switch right through the case. That is a pretty nice feature. I really do like that because now you don't have to worry about taking everything, unzipping, taking it out. You can just charge it right through the case if you need. It's pretty handy. And the bottom part of the case that the Switch goes into is also lined with this really nice soft material, so you don't have to worry about it getting scratched either. So now let's see how much this case weighs. 349.1 grams. So definitely not a bad case. It's slimmer than the Pro case, but it also holds a little less, but definitely not a bad option. I definitely would recommend this case. And then here we have a case by FINTIE. So this is again another one, or actually this is a two-piece design. This one looks super cheap. It feels cheap. It's got kind of like a textured kind of, I don't know, rubbery type material, and then it's got a hard inner shell. Maybe that's just for keeping it from getting deformed. I don't actually think you're going to use this. Yeah, okay, never mind. Not a two-piece case. That was just in there to keep it from getting deformed because this is a soft kind of rubbery type of material. So it does look like underneath the case you can put 2 games. This is kind of like the SPIGEN where you kind of put this over the top of the Joy-Con to hold it in place. It's got kind of like this Mario looking thing on the back. It kind of reminds me like a foam, like a rubbery type foam. This case is the cheapest one that I have seen yet. So we'll put our switch down in the case first and then just kind of push these over the top. It goes in there just like that. Maybe this would be better if you had, you know, for your kids or something, but this is definitely the cheapest. This is one of the cheapest cases that I've tested yet. Definitely not a big fan already, but it does make the Switch 2 a little bit more bulky because of the grips in the back, so that feels good for my hands. You can easily access all the buttons. You can see that it's kind of deformed, or doesn't want to stay down on the top here. You can see it's kind of flush here, and then it kind of comes up and over. Yeah, definitely not good. It does add a little bit, it does add a lot of extra bulk to the Switch. You can see how it's kind of deformed here. It doesn't even, it's covering some of the exhaust ports here. Let's see if we can access the, yeah, so this gets stuck too. Hard to access your game port at all. Here you have to kind of press your finger down again to get to the buttons, but you can. On the bottom here, you can see how thick it is. We've got our speaker and our charging port here. On the back, you can see you can access your Joy-Cons, but again, you're definitely not going to be able to use this in the dock. I'll show you really quick. It's just too thick, way too bulky. So you're going to have to take your Switch out every time you want to use it with the dock, which is a pain. The port doesn't open all the way. It seems to be, you know, not shaped very well. This is, again, this is definitely probably the worst case that I've tested so far. I cannot recommend this case, and I would tell you to definitely steer clear of this one. That's probably why they put this big plastic piece in there, which is a waste, so it doesn't get even more deformed. And let's see how much this case weighs. It's probably going to be super light. $106.1 grams. Yeah, so I think this is the lightest cover that we've tested so far. Next up, we have the SPIGEN Air Fit cover. This is kind of like the first cover that we went over. It's like a 3-piece. And this is a clear case as well. So here are the covers. That's interesting. There's, oh, there it is. All right. So here is the main cover. Just all clear hard plastic. Not really flexible. This kind of just goes over the back. So we'll put this over the top first and then just kind of press that into place. So it's like that. And then we have all these pieces for the Joy-Cons, which is kind of annoying. Again, this is a clear plastic. Kind of looks like that goes over that part, and then this has a sticker on it too to kind of hold it in place, and then this seems to go over the back, so this is really annoying. Put this on the back here, clip that into place. They kind of clip together just like that. I'm not really feeling this case already. It's just too much. Like, does it really need to be like all these pieces? And put that over that, move our sticker, and then put this on the back. Push it into place, clips together on the top. Just like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's I will tell you it is grippy. It's just made of a hard, clear plastic, but for some reason, the clear plastic seems to be pretty grippy, but this is also glossy, and you're most likely gonna have a ton of different fingerprints all over the back and the front of this case. I don't know why they didn't just make it a frosted, like a matte. It kinda, I don't know, there's a little bit of movement on the top and the bottom there. You can still easily access all of your buttons. On the top here, you can access our game port pretty easily. We have all of our other ports here. You can press in your buttons on the switch work good. Here we have on the bottom your ports. On the back, again, you can see it's all clear. It also does cover the stand, so you're gonna have to take the cover off if you want to use that. Very glossy. But if you want to take off your Joy-Cons, there, that works. Now, will this work with the adapter with these on? No. Again, it's just too bulky. So if you want to use this adapter, you're going to have to take off these little covers, which not really a big thing. This is already coming apart. Yeah, it's not holding in place very well. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this clip. It just kind of seems very flimsy. And you saw it came apart by itself. I barely even used it yet. But let's see if this will work inside the dock. And again, it is not working. It just won't go in the dock. So in yet another SPIGEN case that doesn't work with the dock, I'm not really sure. This seems to come apart too easily. The fingerprints and the two pieces, again, yet another SPIGEN case that I would not recommend. I just don't understand what's going on with SPIGEN. They usually make some really nice cases, but I just think they really kind of dropped the ball with the Switch 2 cases this time. I would not buy this case again myself, and I wouldn't recommend it to you for the reasons that I've already told you. So the funny thing is, the one side came off really easily, and the other side, I'm having a really hard time trying to get apart. So, okay, so that works a little better, and you kind of peel that off. Kind of like that. And the bottom part broke. So one part didn't want to stay on and the other part didn't want to come off at all. The next cover we have is made by JSAUX. So this looks exactly like one of the other covers. It's just, this one is branded. It's got kind of like that, like a plastic piece on the back surrounded by a softer TPU material. So we'll put our switch down inside just like this, and then clip over the top. So it feels good in the hand. It's got like these big rubber pieces on the back here to kind of conform to your hand. So if you have bigger hands like me, it definitely feels a lot better. It fits really well. Again, we've got the same protection on the bottom all the way up to the sides, and then on the top, you can see that we have our game port here that still is not accessible, just like the other one that we tested. So they're made by the same manufacturer. This one's just branded, and the game port does not open. So already not going to recommend this case. We have access to our charging ports and our vents. The buttons, again, you have to kind of like push inside to get to those buttons. On the bottom here, we've got access to our charging port, our speakers. Again, the same kind of texturing around the sides and the bottom here. That's what it looks like on the back. And this one, again, I don't think it worked with the dock. Nope, it's kind of pushing out the dock. So this does not work with the dock either. What a shame. The cover feels good in the hand, but it doesn't work with the dock. You can't open the game port. I don't understand. So already I would not recommend this case or cover if you're looking for one for your Nintendo Switch 2. There's just those couple issues make it a no-go for me. And again, if you want to use the Joy-Cons at all off the Switch, you're going to have to take the whole Switch outside of this cover. And the last case we're going to take a look at is made by JSAUX again. So this one seems like an actual case. It's not just a cover. And it does seem to be made of all hard plastic. But it is pretty slim looking, which is nice. It's got kind of like these, I don't know, these ridges on the top here and on the bottom. You can see it's perfectly cut out to fit your Switch 2, and it's held together with this plastic little clip here. Just kind of open that up. It also comes with a little lanyard, which is pretty thick. That looks pretty nice. And you just simply drop your Switch into the case just like that. Then close the cover here, clip that down, and your Switch is protected. So if you just want to protect your Switch, maybe you're throwing it inside your bag and you want to keep it pretty slim, this seems like a pretty good option. Of course, it doesn't seem to carry any games. Let me see what the instructions say, just to be sure. I mean, they might fit in between here. It looks like it's got these little kind of ridges to fit games. I unfortunately don't have any physical type games yet to put in here, but it would hold 1, 2, 3. So 3 times 5, 15 games, if that's what these are for. I'm assuming it is because it's got these little partition ridges. And then on the bottom, let's see if it's the same thing under there. No. So this is just there. So it looks like the case not only protects your Switch, but will hold about 15 games. Again, it's all hard. It's an all hard case. There's no ridges or anything like that. Oh, okay. So these pieces right here are rubber. So it does seem to kind of fit in here to maybe kind of hold your Switch in place. There isn't anything on the bottom though, just on the top. But it does seem to fit the Switch pretty good. And again, it keeps it nice and slim. We also do have access to the top USB Type-C charging port, so you can charge your Switch right when it's inside this case here. And I will tell you, the one thing that I do like about this case is it's got these nice big cutouts for where your Joy-Cons goes. And if you're going to throw this in your bag or something like that, you absolutely do not have to worry about anything touching any of the buttons or the Joy-Con joysticks themselves. So I could definitely recommend this case if you're just looking to simply protect your Switch and carry some games. And again, I do like the fact that we do still have access to that charging port. And I also like the fact that it is pretty slim. So I would definitely use this case, and I would definitely recommend it to you guys. I've actually got a couple covers just like this for my controllers, the Switch 1 controller and one of my Xboxes, and they work great because they have all the cutouts perfect for your Switches. They keep it nice and slim, and you can just throw this in your book bag and you don't have to worry about anything damaging or scratching the screen or breaking any of your joysticks. If you guys have stayed with me this far, thank you so much for all your support. And I'd also really like to know what your favorite case from this video was. And if you've come across any other really good cases, let us all know in the comments below. So now that I've had a chance to test out all those cases, I'm going to let you know which ones were my favorite and which ones I think you should absolutely stay away from. So these are all the cases that I would absolutely tell you to stay away from, and I'll tell you exactly why. So the very first one was the FINTIE case. This case here was by far one of the cheapest cases that I had tested. It was just like a very cheap foam. It was also misaligned on the Switch 2 itself. You also couldn't access the little port to put in any of your games, and it does also not work with the dock, so you have to totally take the case off if you want to use the Switch 2 dock. The second two cases were exactly the same. It's just that one had branding on it and the other did not. And that's the MOKO case and the JSAUX. As you can see, both of these cases look exactly the same. It's just that one has branding on it, like I said, and the other one does not. Both of these cases do have exactly the same flaws. You can't access the game port, so if you want to put in a game, you have to take the case off to open up the little port, and it also does not work with the Switch 2 dock. And then lastly, all three of the SPIGEN cases that I tested this year did not work with the Switch 2 dock at all, and it was kind of surprising because some of these covers are pretty slim. They just don't work. And I was pretty disappointed with SPIGEN's rollout of these cases for the Switch 2 because SPIGEN typically makes some really nice cases, but all three of these cases for the Switch I would definitely not recommend. And the very first cover is the Air Fit. This case is totally all hard plastic. It's clear, it's glossy, it picks up fingerprints, and it's also got like a 5-piece design. It's got the one cover that goes over the back of the Switch and then two other plastic covers that go over each one of the Joy-Cons. One of the case covers did not want to stay together, and the other one I had a really hard time taking apart. You also can't use the Joy-Cons with the Joy-Con accessory that comes with the Switch with those covers on either. And like I mentioned, you can't use this case with the Switch 2 dock at all. Next is the SPIGEN Rugged Armor case. This is typically one of my favorite cases for phones, but this, again, it doesn't work with the dock. It does feel pretty good in the hand, but again, if you're going to want to use any of the Joy-Cons separate from the Switch 2 itself, or if you want to even use the Switch 2 in the dock, you're going to have to take the case off. So I'm not sure why SPIGEN opted to go that route, but it's just kind of annoying to have to do. And then the last SPIGEN case is the Nano Pop. This case is kind of like the Air Fit, but the Joy-Con covers are just simply all one-piece plastic. Now the thing with this case is the Joy-Con covers, they only will stay in place if you use the stickers. If you don't, they will pretty easily pop off the Joy-Cons. This case also does not allow you to use the Switch with the Switch dock, with the case on. So you're going to have to actually at least take the back part off the Switch if you want to use the dock. But the one thing about the Nano Pop is it actually did come with a little slot, so you could still use the case stand, where the other two cases didn't have that option at all. You have to totally take the case off if you want to use the stand. And then that brings us to the cases that I absolutely loved and I would definitely recommend for everybody. The very first one is the one made by SUPCASE. This case is very protective. They have a really good design here. It's got a nice hard backing surrounded by a really firm rubbery type material that's going to keep your Switch protected. It does make the Switch a little bit more bulky, but if you have bigger hands like I do, this is absolutely a must. It makes the Switch 2 way more comfortable to hold in your hand, and this case also does work with the Switch 2 dock. The only thing about this case is you can't use the stand and it doesn't carry any games, but again, like I said, it will keep your Switch pretty protected. The next cover is made by I-BLASON. It's kind of like the same thing as the SUPCASE, but it's got a couple added extra features. It's got a nice hard backing to protect your Switch, surrounded by a nice rubbery type of material to protect your Switch and your Joy-Cons. This also does have a kickstand on the back that also holds up to 5 games and a couple micro SD card expresses, which is great. So you still have that stand functionality, and this case also works perfectly with the Switch 2 dock. You just lift up the cover here, put it into the dock, and you never have to take it off. And if you want to take the Joy-Cons off, all you need to do is move back these little hinged Joy-Con covers, and you can easily take the Joy-Cons off the Switch 2, just like the SUPCASE. Both of these cases are really nice. They fit really well. And again, if you've got bigger hands, definitely a must. And again, this will keep your Switch nice and protected. The third case is actually made by the JSAUX. This case is a totally hard shell case. This is really nice if you just want to throw your Switch 2 inside your book bag and not have to worry about it getting scratched up or damaged. This case also does have a little charging port at the top, so you don't have to take your Switch out to charge it. And it will also hold quite a few different games inside the top cover. Now, I mentioned before, I also had used a cover for my Switch 1 Pro case or controller, and it's kind of just like the JSAUX. It's just a very simple plastic hard shell case that's perfectly cut out for the controller, so you can just throw this into your bag and not have to worry about it getting damaged. And that's just like the JSAUX case for the Switch 2. So if you want to keep your Switch 2 pretty slim and carry some games, I would definitely recommend this case. And then last but not least, we have the thick boy, the PROCASE case. Pretty much carries everything that you need for your Switch 2. It'll carry your games, an extra set of Joy-Con controllers, the power adapter, the HDMI cable, the USB Type-C cable, and the little Joy-Con wrist strap. So pretty much everything that you're going to need to use with your Switch, this case will definitely hold, and it's going to keep your Switch nice and protected. The only thing about this is, as you can see, it is pretty bulky, but again, it's going to carry everything that you need to use your Switch. Now, if there was a case that you didn't see in this video that you'd like everybody else to check out, let us know in the comments below. Also, if you'd like to help support my channel, I will be putting product links in the video description. And if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by hitting the like button and consider subscribing. And I'd also recommend checking out my best and worst screen protector video that I did for the Switch 2. And you can check that out by clicking on the video you see on your screen right now. If it's not there, it will be very soon. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.